What's going on, guys? Seth and Chevy here. We just watched episode 5 of Chainsaw Man. Quick recap. So Denji's lifelong pursuit of touching a boob finally happened for him under very interesting circumstances. And he goes on from that moment, kind of processing it. He gets to a point where he kind of emphasizes to Makima after she asks him what's up with him, that he might have been more interested in the chase, the pursuit of what he wanted, but once he got it, it didn't live up to, everything was cracked out to be for him. She then kind of explained some stuff to him about having a connection with somebody, one being intimate, I'll put it that way, and propositions him, putting it lightly, to essentially hunt down and destroy a gun devil, who apparently has done some very devastating stuff, killing 1.2 million people in an event that we get a flashback to. And she promises that she will give him whatever he wants in return for if he is able to do this, and he says that he'll be able to do it, essentially.
Very confidently.
Yeah. Very, very Denji of him. He's just like, yeah, fuck it. I can do that. Yeah. So we are kind of, I wouldn't say introduced because we've seen before, but we're introduced to some new characters. There's a group of 6 people who are going on this journey to hunt down the gun devil by trying to track it down and use these like metal fragment or these bullet fragment things. They're trying to.
It's apparently his flesh, but they look like bullets. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're going to try and hunt him down and see if it will magnetize to the guy, because apparently that is key to finding the gun devil. Yeah, so we are introduced to some new characters, though. I don't remember their names. I remember actually quite a bit of them, though. I think the girl with the eye patch, who we find out traded her eye with the devil to be able to have a ghost hand with her right hand, which is kind of interesting. That is Himeno.
Okay.
And then I believe so. And then the dude who I feel like is going to be cannon fodder is Rai or Rai. I believe. And then the timid girl, I don't know her name. But we have a ragtag group of devil hunters going after the gun devil. Of course, with Aki and Power involved with this as well as Denji. Yeah, so Denji is dealing with a lot of female attention that he's not mentally equipped to deal with. From Power, Makima, and now Himeno. I believe. Is there another person I'm missing? That's the eye patch person, right?
I don't remember any of their names, so you're knowing better than me at this point.
I'm finding out through doing these reviews. I remember names semi-decently, but then I'll forget them in like 30 minutes. So we get an interesting moment where Himeno tries to kind of jokingly proposition everybody to do something, and she'll give him a kiss. But then when she gets kind of a pushback from Denji, having his eyes set on Makima at this point, she gets a little more flirtatious with him in saying that she'll kiss him with tongue this time, which upsets Arai. And Denji finds a whole new purpose in life and starts marching into the apartment building where they are trying to find clues on the gun devil, in which they go. I think they start on the 7th floor when everything starts, and they run into a really disturbing head, foot, hand devil who instantly just lunges at them. Himeno is able to use her ghost ability and freeze him in the air, which is really interesting. And Power wastes no time jumping in and joining the battle and slicing the devil in half. After a quick skirmish, they head up to the 8th floor of the apartment building, and as they're walking, Arai Arai has noticed that the blood from the devil they had just killed is on the floor again, and he starts asking questions on what floor they were just on. They kind of go over it again, and to test his theory that he's working out, he runs down the stairs back down to the 7th floor, and he comes down to the 8th floor that they are already on right now, kind of throwing everybody off and wondering what the hell is going on. The episode ends there on an eerie note, and we are met with a new ending sequence to this episode, as every episode has had a different one, that kind of plays with the trippy and weird aspect of the end of this episode, where it is them kind of walking around on an endless squared loop and a bunch of really trippy things happening, weird stuff with their faces. That was a lot of fun to watch, in my opinion.
Also, like 3 or 4 different like horse type designs.
Yeah, one being like hands, which was really interesting. Some really cool visuals going on in this one. They've all been really neat, but since they are different, it's worth talking about each time. So we kind of skipped over that the first 3 episodes. So, what were your impressions of episode 5?
So I thought it was how it just like continued immediately from the end of the last episode, where basically she gave him the go ahead to get his reward, and I like how the first of his 3 grabs he gets in, a pad falls to the ground, and when he asks about it, she just very proudly goes, "They make you look fuller." And then she takes the other one out, and then
his 3 fondles is kind of chaotic, because like he does the first one and he's confused by what just happened, and she just explains it, and she's like, "You got 2 more." And he does that one. She's like, "You got 1 more," and then like he does that one.
Yeah, there's no intimacy at all.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And like you could tell, she's just like paying the toll. Basically,
it's like he's on a game show.
Yeah.
She's just like yelling at him, and then when he's done, she just gets up and walks off.
Instantly, gets meowy and is like, "All right, bedtime."
Yeah.
like that's it. So that was kind of funny, though. It did traumatize him for like a whole day. It looked like he didn't even sleep, because it kind of pans to his face. He's just like staring at the ceiling still.
Yeah, it's like Dawn
face. Yeah,
Dawn is just sitting there staring still, like processing what's going on.
Yeah. Then when he's having the conversation with Makima, even though it's a very like her basically explaining effectively intimacy to the guy, all the subtle movements and stuff that are happening in that scene were quite intimate, to be honest.
Yeah.
So they did a really good job with that. Afterwards, with the
so real quick with that Makima scene, I think this might just be my interpretation, but I think there's more to it than kind of what it leads on. It's kind of playing with the idea of like possibility of romance, even though with this anime I don't think that's really going to be something that's so simply done. Between Denji and Makima, it's giving him an ambition, but I feel like after she's talking with him and seeing that he's like deflated, that's going to affect him when he's out killing devils. And so I feel like once she gathers that he's not motivated by the chase of something anymore, she reignites that for him with that situation, because that was a motivator for him before. And there could be something more behind it, but at the very least I read it as like she was reigniting that motivation that he had, and now he doesn't because it wasn't what it was meant to be. She also, because he's fucking weird and hasn't really been around people a lot, is explaining that things are more meaningful when you have a connection with somebody. But I think she was almost like tightening the leash on him a bit too.
I feel that's 100% what it was.
In that sense of like, I own you, blah, 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 blah. But also at the same time, by giving him that little sense, like little taste of intimacy, and also showing him that, you fondle this chick, you fondle me, this is going to be more meaningful for you. There is more to it. It will get him to go do the devil stuff even better again. So
yeah,
I thought it was a really cool and subtle way to add a motivation to something that we've already seen him pursue before, because like we were watching in the first 4 episodes, and that's been his motivation. And we talked about in a prior review of like, is this going to happen? Because it seems like it's the only thing he's motivated by. It happened. So it's like, oh, okay, it's over. And then like, he's deflated by it. It's like, well, where do we go from here? Well, it's been reignited. So it's really interesting, but adding more depth and more personal growth, I guess, to the character in that sense. It was an effective scene.
Yeah, well, the whole show, she's kind of come off as a very like calculated individual, anyways. Mm-hmm. So I can't imagine her being like actually super emotional.
Well, it came off manipulative, but it is teasing something more just because Denji wants that, and so it was convincing in that sense. We just have to wait and see, but likely it is just a manipulative, maneuver.
Yeah, we get the flashback in America with the Gun Devil moment. We get this scene with this family there, and at first I was trying to figure out what the point was until the event takes place. That takes place, the 1.2 million lives, and the kid witnessing his family basically just be evaporated. That kid ends up being Aki, so. His motivation is kind of definitely shown at that point, and he's got like, I would assume a personal mission to get this Gun Devil. So.
Which adds even more depth to his character, because we already talked about, I think in episode 2, where like he came off like a dickhead. Mm-hmm. He came off almost like, you don't want him to fuck with Denji. You're like, oh, well, this is the main character. I like him. So when he comes around and he's like, being a dick to him, you're like, oh, this guy's an asshole. But even in that episode, they hinted towards like he doesn't want someone who's not serious to be involved with this. And then after, seeing where Himeno is coming from as well, losing 6 people before Aki, it's kind of like this long line of people who've just been lost. Yeah. And then finding out more about Aki's past, where his family was just eviscerated. It adds, it's effectively in 5 episodes added a lot of depth to his character, where he's like, probably one of the more compelling characters to me, in the sense of like them as a character, not just like they're entertaining.
Yeah, well, and we've gotten pretty good background stories now with at least 3 of the characters. We got a little bit of the gal with the eye patch, but not a lot, and the other 2 are still kind of a mystery. But the original, basically 3 outside of Makima, we've gotten backstories.
Yeah, we like know nothing about her still.
Yeah, and I almost feel like we probably won't until like it means something later. Obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
I feel like it's gonna be like a big reveal with her, but some kind of hidden motivation, or like some kind of big thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're talking about what, Denji, Aki, and Power. Yeah, and Power, it's pretty shallow as well, but we still know where she came from, essentially.
I mean, we know that she's a devil that took over a corpse. So
yeah.
And then we got to see that corpse's lifestyle before, forcibly being employed. Mm-hmm. The other thing I really like about this episode is ever since Denji went above and beyond, honestly, for her, she's like almost instantly buddy with the guy now. It seems like.
Who, Power?
Yeah. So...
we see that with when everyone's together getting ready to go into the building. They both have like almost like a bratty, I don't want to quite say brother and sister dynamic, but like there is like a chummy dynamic between the two.
For sure. That's
still like rivalry, but at the same time, it's like they understand each other better now.
Yeah, 100%. And they're both very simply motivated by... falling in line by being offered a stick of gum each.
Yeah, that's so fucking stupid. I mean, I loved it, but it was ridiculous.
Because they were being very bratty, and then Aki just holds up 2 pieces of gum, and they're like, yes, sir.
I just love how shameless both of them are in terms of just everything, because they're acting like, why the hell would we listen to you, blah, 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 and they just like pulls that out, and they're just like, okay, senpai. And then like they both get in like, hey, and they're like both just like stoked about it.
And they're just staring at people while smacking their gum.
Yeah, and it's just like, gum's not that cool.
I also like how like when she's the eye patch gal is like explaining you know, what they're going to be doing and the prize she'll offer. They're both just kind of staring, but like Power's just like kind of like around Denji,
Yeah.
just like almost attached to him. I was like, what are they, the same person?
Well,
So,
it's like they don't like each other, but they don't like everyone else even more. So there's like sticking together in that sense of like, I mean, obviously there's gonna be more to that like as the show goes on, but like there's this like still like shallow adversarial feeling that everybody's just kind of like not getting along in the sense of like Aki, Denji, and Power. Obviously, it seems like Aki gets along with everybody else as much as he's gonna, but it's like they're sticking together more because like they both understand each other's simple ambitions and just who they are, and everybody else they're just like fucking like I gotta work with these guys.
yeah. The Yeah, otherwise they go in the building and you brought up the little weird head thing, and what happened there. Again, Power with no hesitation is ready to just kill something, as she did in her introduction episode. I also have really been enjoying her voice actors, like really having fun. Like every time she talks, it's just like this high energy, like childlike almost demeanor, and it's really been really entertaining for
It's
her
done
character.
really convincing too, because like that kind of archetype is like typical in a lot of anime, but like in things in general, like you know being like childlike or whatever, like kind of rambunctious or like hyper or whatever, but it's done in a convincing way with Power, because Power comes off as like not human, so it adds an element to it that there's like this mischievous nature to her, but also a detachment from humans in the sense that she would just kill you if like you know if there wasn't like a negative to do that. Even on the stairwell, when she like pulls out her like blood spike dagger thing, and she's saying like you know she could just take somebody out, and Himeno like just chokes her out right then there, and she can't even, which was very interesting to see. It's kind of revealing the power a little bit more. She can't touch the hand, which is kind of fucked. That she can get choked out by it, but she's not able to touch it.
I mean, effectively, it's a force choke at that point.
Yeah.
So, which was cool to see that as well. Also liking that, even though we haven't really seen a lot of the three characters we're basically introduced to in this episode, they have a lot of personality, like right off the bat.
Except for our Arai.
Yeah,
I think he's kind of basic.
He's pretty basic.
And I think he's going to be cannon fodder. I think they're going to kill him off just because, like, his personality is like he's there. He likes Himeno. He's been trained by her for 6 months, which isn't very long. So I feel like they're going to use him as a way to, when they do find something that's a threat, he's probably gonna, maybe he won't, but I don't see him in the intro. I don't see him anywhere. I think he's going to get murdered. But
well, I know that the timid gal, even before the show came out, like people were making memes constantly of that gal, just like,
yeah, she seems like she's gonna stick around.
Yeah,
but
like
the other
dancing
guy,
and crying and stuff like that. So
maybe he is in the intro. I just don't. He's so generic looking. I don't remember.
Yeah, at least at this point, right? So,
yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, but I am curious to see, you know, if anything, what their abilities are. Obviously, it seems like at this point the way for humans to fight devils is through packs, because now it's happened twice. So
they have to sacrifice something for it, which I think is really interesting.
Though it seems like with Aki, it's like every time he wants to use the power, he like offers something. It seems like, versus like she just one for one. You get eye, I get arm.
She just got rid. Yeah, she sacrificed something. And the thing I like too is like, you know, every anime is going to have like people with powers, and it's like whatever their backstories to have the powers or why they have it. One thing I like about this is you do feel specifically like the main hunters who've been around longer, they have motivations to have sacrificed or sacrifice to have these abilities to hunt things down. It's not just like, oh, I'm like the cool guy who can do this. It kind of sucks that I have to do this, but you know, I have this cool power. Like Aki lost his whole family. He's lost partners. He's motivated by trying to keep the cops he talked about in that episode and their family safe. So that makes complete sense. And then we don't know much about Himeno, but in the flashback where they're in the graveyard and she's talking about this is her sixth partner that is dead. That's already enough motivation. For whatever reason she joined, we may figure that out. But in the time that she has been a part of it, she's lost partners, and she was all fucked up in that flashback. She had like all sorts of casts and stuff on. Her eye
was bandaged up. That might have been when she sacrificed it.
Yeah. So at least those two characters feel like they have purpose and ambition enough to make sacrifice. Whereas like, not to derail too much, but like Denji and Power don't have those ambitions. They're just like,
they're being forced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Power's for sure being forced, and Denji's being manipulated because he's a simple dude.
I mean, he was given a choice. He could die or join. So.
Sure. But he's not there because like he has any like moral obligation to want to help anything. So it's a really interesting dynamic that I'm really enjoying because it adds this not grounded. It's not grounded, but it has like this there's weight to the powers for the people who have sacrificed that I think is really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, that's even true with like, Power and Denji, obviously, because their bodies have been taken over by devils. Denji's is just weird because he's maintained
he's a hybrid.
His self, versus like Power took over that body. That's her body now. So, I mean, again, I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. The show's really good about like leaving some breadcrumbs down so that you want to just keep like following the trail. So I enjoy that. The cliffhangers aren't like crazy bad, so I'm not like sitting here like, oh my god, why the hell? But just enough intrigue to be like, okay, what's the next adventure going to be? So I like that.
We've only seen 5 episodes too, but like every episode feels precise and meaningful, which I really appreciate. There hasn't been like a downtime episode where it's just like meaningless.
So this was kind of a like not slow, but like a slower pace.
There's like no action in it. They chopped a devil in half, but that was like whatever. It didn't matter. It was more so about Denji realizing that what he was chasing wasn't exactly what he thought he wanted, and being remotivated, and then meeting new characters and finding out their ambitions. With some background on Aki.
Right. It was definitely a character episode. So.
Yeah, and I do feel like I got a lot. I keep saying this every episode. This is my favorite episode. I think it's just because it's exciting at the time. But this one felt really good too, just because like it didn't need like a big set piece action sequence because I just really enjoyed the development of the characters.
Yeah, I like this episode a lot too. There hasn't been a bad episode yet. I do think the last episode was like some peak anime, but
yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, this is a good one. I liked it. But I also think this stuff's kind of important anyways, because you're gonna want or you're gonna have more attachment to characters later when they're put in situations and stuff. So
for sure, yeah, we haven't even seen like huge stakes yet, and if there will be something to lose, we are becoming invested in the characters already. They're doing a really good job on mixing fun, crazy stuff and comedy with like slowly kind of giving us investment into why we should care about these characters, and they're being really effective with it in 5 episodes
for sure. And then last thing I really have to comment on is I think the end theme song, I liked it. I also think the ED animation was a lot of fun. I think this one and the last one, the actual visuals were just probably some of my favorites. Though the first ED song is my favorite of the actual music itself. But I think the last 2 as a whole ending were done really well. So
yeah, I've liked them all, but I think the last one I thought was really cool.
Power dancing.
Yeah, and then this one I thought was really neat. Had a really cool style to it, which I felt like kind of was thematic with what the last one was thematic too, but
it was a pretty power heavy episode.
Yeah, so, exactly. So when they did that, I was like, that makes sense. And then this episode is like kind of trippy and weird and like
has all of them.
Yeah. It was like perfect. So I really love that they do this. I wish more anime would.
I've never seen that before. So
yeah.
Yeah,
me neither. So it's like it's really cool to see, and it's definitely not not appreciated. I like every time a new ending happens, I have a reason to watch it every single time. So, and I really liked it as well. Yeah, I'm not going to go over the episode a whole lot though, because I just expressed a lot of what I thought. But just to kind of reiterate, I think the investing in the characters was a good thing in this episode. I felt like we got to know the characters more. I like that we just added depth to Denji, and that he kind of like learned something and then had to learn even more to process that. It's kind of shallow in the sense that he was looking to fondle somebody and wasn't exactly what he wanted. But I think in its core, it's a way of showing that he wants intimacy. He just came from a simple place where he didn't quite know.
I said, dude, don't know anything.
That's what he was looking for. He was just like, I'm attracted to girls. I want to touch a boob. And then he's like, wait, touching a boob wasn't like that great, especially when the chick's just like, all right, bye, and just walked off. Like there's nothing to that.
Yeah.
And even though I think Makima is completely manipulating him, he is learning that human connection is likely what he's looking for. Considering the way he grew up, he didn't have any of that. So we're really kind of looking at a lack of human connection he's had throughout his life, manifesting in like, oh, I would like a relationship with somebody. Whether I can only assume that'd be a friendship or romantic. But he's learning that, and I like that. I like the little flashbacks of Aki. We're adding more to him. He's becoming a very compelling character to me already, and like he barely talks, but you can see a lot of how he's had like a tormented life that has made him the serious dude that he is. Makes complete sense. The scene where the house gets blown away was pretty wild. I kind of assumed the little brother was going to die in some way because they made this whole thing about like, oh, he's sick. Oh, he's going to go out and play. And I was like, well, what's going to happen to him? Like, is a devil going to get him? Like, what's going on?
I kind of felt like something's going to happen like out in the snow.
Yeah.
But that's not what happened at all.
There was just too much like, oh, be careful with him. Oh, no, they're having fun. I'm like, they're going to kill that kid. Like, for sure. Something bad's going to happen to these kids. But I didn't expect like the house to just eviscerate. That was a pretty crazy scene. And then, showing the cityscape having been completely destroyed as well.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see this gun devil and how this is going to go down if it's capable of doing that. Pretty crazy to think that 1.2 million people, an event like that could happen from that
in an instant.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. And yeah, new characters seem cool. As you guys probably picked up, I'm not really attached to Ri. Because he just seems kind of simple, and the timid chick hasn't really talked a whole lot or done anything outside of she's timid. So, we'll learn more about her later. But Himeno seems cool. She seems like, I like eye patches, so she has a cool look to her, and her ability's neat, and she seems interesting enough. I like her and Aki's dynamic because they're both kind of similar, especially with that flashback gives them kind of a history, which I kind of like.
Also, another anime where the eyes are just very well drawn. It's the same, obviously, like they did the same with like Jujutsu Kaisen, where like the eyes are like really good looking. But love that.
Yeah, and I can't wait for next episode. I feel like I'm saying that every single review, but it's nice to take the break and wait a week to watch the next episode and really appreciate it like we've been doing. This has been a great anime so far. 5 episodes in, I've loved every single episode. Can't wait to find out what happens next. Really curious about the Gun Devil, what's going to happen with that, and curious to see what Power will do next, because every episode she's just like a person who can't pay attention, just like ADHD or ADD, just constantly. Even when she's walking with Denji and she chopped his head just out of nowhere, just like just random. And the prank they played on Aki, that was funny too. But yeah, overall great episode, cool ending, and really liked it. Anything else?
No.
You want to add? All right. Let us know in the comments what you guys think of episode 5 of Chainsaw Man. I always want to say Devil Man for some reason. What did you think? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What was your favorite parts of it? What stood out to you? What do you think about the Makima and Denji scene? What do you think about Denji finally fulfilling his ambitions and finding out that it wasn't exactly what he wanted? What do you think about Aki's past? What do you think about the new characters we've been introduced to? And where do you think this is going to go? No spoilers if you do know where it's going to go. We haven't read the manga. And yeah, I think it's going to do it, though. I've been Seth. This has been Chevy. Until the next episode, which will be, at the very least, Chainsaw Man episode 6, but something else in between. We are almost at the end. Well, we are at the end of Jujutsu Kaisen, so expect a season review of that soon. We'll be watching the movie after that. And we got some other things we got planned. We also did a review for One Piece Film Red. If you want to know our thoughts on that, it's a full spoiler review. I need to start saying that. I'm just like, they watched it. But if you want to know our thoughts on that, check it out. I haven't watched a whole lot of One Piece. Chevy has watched all of One Piece, so it's an interesting discussion coming from those two perspectives. But yeah, that's it. See you later.